Hey guys, what is going on? So there has been a lot of buzz about Drew Lock and the Broncos as a whole this offseason after the team drafted two wide receivers in the first two rounds of the draft, Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. People expect that the Broncos and Drew Lock are in for a big year. Everywhere I look, I see people saying Drew Lock is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league next year. People are posting his win percentage alongside the win percentage of all the other NFL starting quarterbacks, even though he's only started 5 games. He went 4-1, so yeah, he has a really high win percentage, but it's not the best stat. I have even seen people say Drew Lock is an MVP candidate for next season. Let me say this before we go any further, because I know some of you are already down in the comments about to write something. I like Drew Lock. I do. I actually wanted the Giants to draft him last winter. I understand a lot of people like him. He's a likable guy. He has that swagger, for lack of a better term. But should we really be saying Drew Lock is an MVP candidate for next season, or that he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league next season? I say we should just chill, calm down a little bit. I'm not even saying we should pump the brakes. Let's just take our foot off the gas of the Drew Lock hype train. Let's just let it glide naturally because of physics or whatever. Drew Lock has started 5 games. He went 4-1, which is great, but he's thrown a total of 7 career touchdowns and 3 career interceptions. He has barely played. 5 games is such a small sample size. And to be saying he's an MVP candidate when he hasn't even reached double digits in career passing touchdowns, doesn't it seem like we're getting a little ahead of ourselves there? I'm not saying Drew Lock is a bad quarterback. He played well last year, and I do think he can be the Broncos franchise QB. Yeah, his decision making was questionable at some points last year, but that's totally understandable because he was a rookie. That's gonna happen. And guess what? That's gonna happen again next year at points because he's still gaining experience. He only played 5 games. It's totally normal. It's not a problem. You might be like, oh, Lauren, you're being such a downer. I'm not trying to be a downer at all. I'm just trying to keep everyone's expectations in check. Because I know those same people who are saying, oh, he's an MVP candidate right now, are going to be screaming, he's a bust when he makes some mistakes next year. It just happens. NFL fans overreact. The Broncos situation reminds me of another team's situation from last year. The Browns, and that's probably not what you want to hear if you're a Broncos fan, but let me explain. So not to brag, not to flex, I did predict that the Browns were going to be a bust before last season started. They had all the flashy skill players, but their offensive line was not good, and that hurt them. The Broncos' offensive line was not great last season. It wasn't as bad as the Browns, but it wasn't great. Although they do have a player like James returning from injury, which is going to help that offensive line, I still believe it could be better. Going out and drafting wide receivers in the first 2 rounds of the draft is great and all, but if your offensive line isn't giving them enough time to get down the field, then you have an issue. So how that offensive line performs is really going to dictate how the whole offense performs. They just gotta be able to block and not consistently get holding penalties. And then of course there's what happened with Baker Mayfield. He had a great rookie year. A lot of people expected him to have a big sophomore season, especially after the Browns traded for Odell Beckham Jr. Well, obviously, his sophomore season was kind of the opposite of great. And of course, like I said before, NFL fans love to overreact, and we're calling him a bust. So personally, I feel people might be overhyping Drew Lock a bit right now, because it seems like people are going to be disappointed if the Broncos don't make the playoffs. Again, I do not think Drew Lock is a bad quarterback. I think he has a ton of potential. I think he could be their franchise QB, and probably will be. But I just feel people are going to be upset if they don't make the playoffs. So if they don't make the playoffs, please do not call this man a bust and overreact. He hasn't even played a full NFL season. He hasn't even played half of an NFL season yet. So give him time, let him develop, and don't overhype him. Alright guys, that's all I got for this video. Make sure you drop a like, let me know down below what you think of Drew Lock, and make sure you subscribe. That's it guys. Peace out.